Yeah, a lot of calls. I
Here we go.
appreciate it. Okay.
Good morning. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike, I did see the Applebee's commercial with that guy. Yeah, I did last night, and I'm going, that is him. There's a video out there Mike sent me about the world's greatest bartender,
Yeah.
and he's now on a video for Applebee's commercials, doing all these tricks with the bottle.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
Fantastic.
but the game show he was on, or whatever, over in Europe,
Yeah.
the stuff he did was just amazing. Yeah. And he ended up mixing 3 drinks for the 3 judges while he was doing all this stuff. It was kind of, yeah.
Awesome.
But I just saw him in that commercial, Mike. What do you got for court?
Interestingly, we had that discussion off the air on one of our breaks, Mike. That issue came up. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If it's illegal, well, they'll make exceptions. I shouldn't say that, actually. Let me tell you what they're going to say. What they're going to say here. Right.
Start with the officers
Well,
first.
this proposed bill, there's exceptions for GPS devices, for emergency workers. I'm not sure if that covers police officers or not. It probably will. And for anyone simply reading cell phone messages. In short, the law bans the action of typing only. But your point is a good one. It's dangerous if you're driving, no matter who's doing it. And I'm not picking at law enforcement, but don't think law enforcement officers don't get involved in accidents. They do. And I've seen it, and I've seen it on more than one occasion where a law enforcement officer has been very much at fault in causing an accident. I've also represented a number of the fine men and women of our sheriff's department who have been injured in accidents caused by others. So, but I suspect, Mike, that this, without having seen the proposed law itself, that it probably exempts law enforcement.
Yes.
And you would think they, and I'm not sure. I think that they already do for purposes of law enforcement. And when you see them texting, what you may be seeing is personal texting that's occurring while on duty. And in my judgment, if that's occurring, that should be every bit as big a penalty as if you and I do it, if this law passes. And I would hope that if there's an exception, it's for while they're on duty, while they're engaged in law enforcement activities. If they're engaged in personal texting while they're driving, they should be subject to the law just like you and I should be.
Exactly. Thanks, Michael.
Michael, yeah. Oh, we're having a battle royal about that. They don't want to give us that information, interestingly, and so they've moved for a protective order to prevent us from getting it. So we're fighting right now in the court system to get that information, and I think we've got the better argument there. I think we're going to get it. And nowadays, people need to realize. You're on the cell phone, you're sending text messages, you're sending emails, they don't go away, guys, and I or some other lawyer, if you get involved in a legal matter, is going to come looking for them, and they can really incriminate you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we've got a case. Well, we've got a case, a very, very serious accident. 2 people were killed. Another lady sustained brain damage, and there's a huge dispute about. It involves minors. It involves drinking. We allege. It involves knowledge by the parents. We allege, and there's a real issue about what was going on out at the property. What messages were being passed back and forth between the children and/or the parents who claimed they knew nothing about what was going on, and we've subpoenaed the cell phone records of the child involved and the parents. And guess what? They don't want us to have them, and we believe that we're entitled to them. and we're going to ask the court to rule that we're entitled to them, and they may very well, we've already taken the depositions of the parties involved.
Yep.
They're on record saying, well, we didn't know, we were in bed, you know, we didn't know till the next morning. Well, guess what? If there were phone calls going back and forth at 1 or 2 in the morning and text messages, that would obviously indicate that they're not telling the truth. So that's our battle that's ongoing right now. Mike, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Michael. Good morning, you're on the show.
Oh, hi! You know, I was just on the break. I was just saying I was very, very hurt that Gino hadn't called to wish me Merry Christmas, and I told Tommy, I said I must be doing something wrong because I obviously haven't, you know what, haven't upset him enough. I have to say this with some decorum to get him to call.
He's right
I
up
feel
to it.
better now. I feel like I'm doing my job. Good. How you doing, Gino? Well, we've got about, what, 25 to 27% of drivers out there that are uninsured in the state of Florida, and it's a huge problem. It's not all as a result of tickets that they've received, as you're well aware, but it is a huge problem. Gino, Merry Christmas to you
And Gino,
and your family.
hey Gino, what about those Pats last night? They certainly were, buddy.
Hey, we got just a minute?
Yeah.
Brian Beeson went over here to Vicinity, the club, saw a great show, and there was a comedian there, you may have been there that night, who said that, I don't understand about all these lawyer advertising, why they advertise on TV, why they do this, why they do that, what they ought to do, and I think it's a great idea, is they ought to put their name, logo, and face on airbags in all the vehicles. So, we're thinking about it, we're thinking about putting Beeson's face on everybody's airbag. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.